What's up, fishing world? Trevor Wagner coming back at you. It's Tackle Tip Tuesday. It's summertime. That means the grass is emerging out of the water in those grass lakes that you might be fishing. Lily pads are full, and that's a perfect time for frog fishing. Now, last Tackle Tip Tuesday, we talked about buzzing frogs. This time, we're going to talk regular frogs. So we're going to talk about frogs that have frog hair, or whatever you want to call the plastic strands coming out of the frog. I call it frog hair. So I'm going to talk about, what do you do with it? Do you leave it straight out of the package? Do you leave it super long like it is here? Or do you trim it? And I'm going to tell you, the tip that I'm going to give you today is how I trim the frog hair. So when I first started fishing frogs, I started, obviously like most people do when you're trying to do something else, you start researching, reading Bassmaster Magazine, listening to what the pros do. And I found the first thing that most of them do is they do trim. Once it comes out of the package, they trim it up. Now they may trim it a little differently, but this is what I do, and I'm going to pass it on to you, so maybe it'll help you as well. So the first thing I do when I get the frog out of the package, obviously you got a nice little, this is a smaller frog. So you got this little small frog with all of this hair down here. So the first thing that I like to do is trim the hair to be the length of the body. So I find out where the length of the body is, and then I'm going to trim it to be that length. So that's the first thing I do, is get it trimmed up to there. Now, there's some people out there that when they have their frog and they trim it, some people have taken their frog hair, and what they do is they'll leave one side longer than the other. So they'll come up and trim a certain amount of hair here, leaving one side longer and one side shorter, and they say that helps them walk the frog. So they said it helps them walk it across the water a little bit easier. And I tried that, and it does work, but what I found to be even better is something when I was watching John Cox, and he was talking about his frog fishing ability. If anybody doesn't know who John Cox is, he's a Bassmaster elite angler. He lives in Florida. He's a shallow guy. He fishes shallow most of the time. Excellent frog fisherman. This guy is one of the only, I think he's the only Elite Series angler out there that has never put forward-facing sonar on his boat. And so when he was talking about frog fishing, what he does on his frogs is, again, he'll cut them to the length of the frog, but then he makes a diagonal cut. So he starts from the outer strand and diagonals it in, and he said it helped him walk his frog. So I went out and I tried that, and I've done that now for a little bit over a year now, and it has worked amazing. So that's the tip I'm going to show you today, is how to trim it up the way I do, which is a diagonal cut. So this guy right here, as you can see, I have already trimmed him up to the head, so there's no extra thing. Now, one other pro tip I'm going to give you. If you're going to trim frog hair, make sure you're doing it on a smooth surface. And if you do it over carpet or anything else like that, or on your regular floor, clean up so your wife doesn't get mad at you, because this hair kind of goes everywhere. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of straighten my strands out a little bit. I'm going to find that end strand down here, and I'm just going to make a nice diagonal cut, like so. Then I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Turn the frog around, kind of straighten out the strands a little bit, find that bottom guy, and nice diagonal cut right like that. Alright, so now I have, this guy's a little, there we go. Alright, so now I have a nice diagonal cut on my frog. So, like I said, when I started doing this, the frog walks a lot better through the water doing that diagonal cut. Now, like I always say, it's about confidence, right? If you're confident taking one of these frogs and trimming up so one half is long, one half is short, and that works for you, keep doing it. Okay, this is just what I've done, and it has helped me out greatly. It's just doing that nice diagonal cut on the frog after I've trimmed up the skirt, after I've trimmed it up to the head, nice diagonal cut, and it works. The frog walks a lot better across the water, going across the lily pads, going across that emergent grass that's out there. Now, why do you want to trim up that? Because again, when the bass comes up, you don't want them to just grab the fur, you want them to grab the bait. Then you want to wait, then you want to set the hook. Because a lot of times when they come up, they're making that big commotion and they hit it. Sometimes if that's too long, they're just going to grab, let me grab one of these guys that has like long fur. They're going to come up, they're going to hit, and if they miss the bait, they've grabbed all this fur, and you didn't wait long enough and you set the hook, well, you just pulled the frog fur right out of their mouth. They never even had the bait to begin with. So a lot of times, trim up your skirt, cut it however you want. Like I said, if you want to cut it where half is up here and this half is long, and that works for you, keep doing it. But I'm just giving you a little tip that I learned from the pro about cutting it in like a 45-degree diagonal angle, and it'll help you walk that frog just a little bit better. All right, guys, that's what I do to my frogs. It works out. Again, I don't have a lot of grass. I do have one grass lake that I fish at, and that's how I get that frog ready to go out there, and it worked really, really well. All right, guys, that's it for this Tackle Tip Tuesday. We'll see you next Tuesday. Now, before you go, I would like you to comment down below, what do you do with your frog hair? Do you trim it? Do you leave it straight out of the package? Do you leave one side longer than the other side? Have you done the diagonal cut before? Let me know down below in the comments section. And until next time, get out and fish. Catch some bass. All right, guys. You guys have a wonderful week, and we'll talk to you next Tuesday.